Okay. Next, we'll proceed with Changshang. We've already finished Ka Si, so now we start Changshang. Changshang means exposing the interface we want to use in Blueprint. Obviously, we have two interfaces. One is to load the WebP, and the other is to release the WebP. I'll paste this here, and then explain it to everyone. Here, I'll modify this interface part. Actually, this part about world context no longer needs explanation, because we need UTexture. There is a delegate here that will modify our UTexture. Display it. This stream indicates which WebP we are on. At this point, we obviously need such a delegate. We'll copy this delegate over. We'll put it inside this type. Put it inside the type. We'll place this delegate here. This is obviously a callback delegate for WebP. Alright. As for this name, let me take a look. Should we change this name? Don't change this name. Just keep this name. Obviously, it is a dynamic one. It has full parameters. This first one is whether the loading was successful. The second one points to this texture object. If successful, this texture object will not be null. Then the third and fourth are the length and width. Then, let's go back to our BP library. At this point, we should take a look at this interface here. It's still showing red here, right? Compiling it probably won't pass. Yes, let's create its implementation. Then, come back here. It should be able to detect it. Let's compile it again. Okay, compilation passed. So this problem is quite obvious. It's a caching issue. We can just ignore it for now. It may not have scanned this area yet. There is a type here. This type might not have been scanned yet. Once it is scanned, it will be normal. Okay, then after this loading is complete, this delegate will return asynchronously. Right, then the next thing we need to do is to provide a release interface. Then we will perform a simple release. Then the code inside here, what should we write? Because we don't have a middle layer yet. Right, without a middle layer, let's still add this first. First of all, the world cannot be empty, and this world cannot be missing either. So here we need to give some hints, but we haven't provided it for everyone later. Just giving a log or something should be fine. So this part should be written like this. It's better to write it this way. Usually, we would write something like this, excessive bounding, and then we give it a false. Only then will it know that it has failed. And this is clearly a null pointer. Then we set it to -1, right? Then we usually give it a 48, because we won't write it here. There might also be some more complex multi-condition judgments. We'll ignore it. Then we similarly need to get our game instance. We'll just copy it over here. Then we forward the call to the corresponding load of WebP interface. And we don't have it right now, right? If we don't have it, we'll ignore it. Then, at our upper level, the call actually looks like this. Next, we will create our subsystem system. For this system, we still need to write a separate subsystem. You could write everything into one subsystem, but the problem this brings is, you won't be able to maintain the code because there are too many nested layers in this asynchronous process. I think we should still write it separately. And we'll call it subsystem. Okay, good. We need to kill this part, copy it, also paste it into the point, then refresh it. Okay, let's refresh and reload. Obviously, our newly written subtask also needs to support ticking. Now let's perform a simply initialization process for this subtest first. Everything we can paste here, we'll paste it over. Obviously, all these things above need to be pasted over. Paste it over. Okay, then let's change the name here. Okay, and then this mute here. We need to paste this class as well. mainly paste these ones here. Okay, after pasting it over, we don't want it to be red, and we don't need this proxy for now. Then here there shouldn't be any issues here. Let's switch to its header file. Obviously, the header file here hasn't changed its name, so it has some trouble recognizing it. Okay, then let's include the header file. And as for the header file, we include this. Okay, then we take the string of releases and import it as well, because we will need it. Actually, we probably won't need this many. Let's take a look. Let me think about it. Let's first hang some points. Don't import all of it yet. At this point, we need to rename this code. Okay, now let's create its implementation. Let's check if the creation location is correct. Okay, so this is our framework, right? The previous steps are all the same. Here we need to call a book. Okay, the white color here is a bit annoying. We'll deal with it after we finish writing. We don't need to worry about this tick. Note that we made a mistake earlier. Here, if it's not easy to copy like this, we'll just copy it directly. I need to copy this over. This is a stat ID. Now we need to compile it. The name here hasn't been changed. Let's cancel the compilation here. We haven't finished editing yet. Let's compile it again now. Okay. It might not necessarily have been compiled, because sometimes when you write a file, it seems it hasn't been detected here. Let's close it all. Good. Let's check again. Check again. Okay. It should be this one. It still hasn't been scanned. Let's ignore it for now. Let's write our code here. Then after we have this subsystem, we put this subsystem in. Okay, then it can contain the subsystem. Then we now need to get the subsystem. So we just copy this code over. Then the name of this subsystem, we change its name. Then this name is it. It is now missing because sometimes WS might be a bit slow. Then we call it WebOptions Hub System. Good. So now we need to, similarly, here we need to forward these two interfaces. So we also copy these two interfaces over here. Then these two interfaces, we set them to public because I don't want users to not call this thing, because this thing involves internal management. This approximation thing inside it, so we don't need UFUNCTION here, and we don't need the world context. This is our middle layer. This subsist is our middle layer. Okay, actually our layer is already written. Let's start writing the code for our middle layer. Okay, after writing this middle layer, we just need to call it in the BP library. Obviously, this load YFP is the one above. Okay, and then we just pass this parameter in. Next, we will write this release YFP. And there is no need to pass anything here. Okay, now let's compile. It will definitely pass. No problem at all. Good. Progression is completely fine, right? Everyone follow this process. Good. Now, come back to our this type category. Obviously, this decoding, we also need to control it through a Boolean. We don't want to use a boolean because we want to go through each sentence. This way, when we debug, it will be clearer because it is also divided into multiple stages. And here, the value of this enum is this during the loading process. Then now, it looks for display. Then long and max are reserved fields. Okay, good. Then we will end this lesson here. We mainly focus on the layer above. Now we have already written a layer above for you. You must ensure the compilation passes. Actually, regarding the blueprint, there's really nothing much to see, because currently, there are no effects at all. Let's take another look at the code inside here. It seems there aren't too many issues. In the next class, we'll start writing how this middle layer of ours handles scheduling.